was cackling out loud, like hooting and hollering. She was f***ing annoying in this. Jesus Christ. Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Just on here to talk about some friggin' books that I've read recently. I'm gonna try to not like rapid fire this, but to not talk as much as I have been recently in these videos because I'm getting behind on like talking about, like, it's already the end of August and I have so many books to catch up with. Some from July still. So beginning with a couple from the end of July, and this one I will, if I remember correctly, if I remember to, I'll put it in the cards. I did a reading vlog where I talked about this book. It's a DNF, and that is Mostly Dead Things by Kristen Arnett. I got 34% into this one. I thought it was well written. I didn't have qualms with like the authorial voice, the writing style, the writing quality, for my opinion. I just could not care any less about this main character's story. Very apathetic, disengaged, existential thing that we were doing in this book. And I really did not like the main character, which isn't always a requirement, but you know, it just wasn't like a fascinating time. Sometimes I can get behind like a dislikable character if I'm fascinated by their story or whatever, but I wasn't fascinated. I just thought she kind of sucked. She was treating her mom like crap for no real reason. And we had a whole obsession, pining after the love of her life for years, who was also her brother's ex-wife, but her best friend first. It was a whole thing. Not into it. I also didn't find it particularly humorous. The blurbs on the back, or the like, you know, other authors saying like, this is so great. Those like quotes on the back, so many of them were like darkly humorous, hilarious, dark comedy. I didn't chuckle or giggle or laugh once, so wasn't for me. Then I reread Nolyn by Michael J. Sullivan, and this is part of my read-along that I'm doing on my channel, and there's a Discord for it as well, which I'll try to remember to link down below. If not, there is a World of Elon read-along announcement video on my channel that has it, if I forget. Sorry, I suck at life. And I'm behind now. It's the end of August. August is pretty much over. Today's the 29th. And I have not read the book for August, which is the one after this, Fairlane, which is a reread as well. They're all rereads. But yeah, haven't gotten to it. I'm getting behind on my own read-along. Who's surprised? Not me.
I'm shocked! This is shocking news!
However, I reread this, still enjoyed it. I really like Nolyn as a character, and I really like Sapphire as well. Like, I love Sapphire. She's great. My enjoyment, like, was slightly less, but I think it's just the nature of, these are really fun the first time reading them to get, like, these reveals, you know? And it's, like, slightly less fun, I guess, for me on reread when I know the reveals. But there were some things that I forgot, so, which still felt like a new reveal, because I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. And oh my god, the emotions, the end of this, the freaking loaf of bread, oh my god, I can't. But yeah, I just really like Sapphire a lot, and Nolyn too. Some epic moments, and just seeing the history that is getting erased and changed. It's like frustrating, but very fascinating at the same time. So still really good time. Still a love favorite range read, definitely. And then another one that was in that same reading vlog as Mostly Dead Things. That was my, you know, random books from the library, like books I hadn't heard of, just picking random shit from the library and checking it out. And this one was They Dream in Gold by my Sennaar. The summary of this one: Mansoor, a well-known musician, and Bonnie, his manager and fiance, are expecting their first child together when Mansoor goes missing after leaving for a show in Spain. And we're looking back at their histories, their individual histories, as well as the history of like them coming together, and the history of their mothers as well. And we see a lot of conversation about generational trauma, how it has affected them. And in the present day, Bonnie is determined to find out what happened to Mansour, though she fears the worst. There's a lot of conversation in this about like the African diaspora as well, cultural identity, and what it means to be part of the diaspora. And this one was a kind of weird reading experience. Parts of it lulled, and we were bouncing around a lot in the timelines. We were going from like 1968 to 1967 to 1969, back to 1967, and then to 1950, and then back to 1968. And there were a few times where I was like, why are we here? Why are we following this person now? This random character just got introduced, like, for what? Things tied together well in the end, though. I did quite enjoy the ending of this a lot. And yeah, the journey to the ending was mostly enjoyable, but it just felt a little meandering at parts and a little too, like, existential literary fiction from time to time. Also, would not recommend the audiobook. I listened to some of it on audio, did not like the audiobook. I don't know if it was like technical things, but it sounded like it was glitching. But I don't know if it was just the narrator's like cadence or genuinely like the audiobook kind of glitching. And I've seen other reviews talking about that as well. So yeah, my overall enjoyment of this was, I liked it. I would say really liked it, mostly just because of the ending. The ending saved it. Honestly, the ending, the tone of the ending and the pacing of the ending kind of felt like a different book a little bit, but I did really like how things all came together, and I was like, oh, okay. And it just got like fun, I guess. I don't know. I really liked it though. And for more of my thoughts on it, you can check out the vlog. And then from that same vlog, a new all-time favorite, which I actually have now. Where'd it go? Hold on. Purchased a copy. Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. This is categorized as like contemporary, literary, magical realism. The summary: Lillian and Madison were roommates at prep school freshman year until Lillian had to leave after a little bit of a scandal. And Madison came from money while Lillian did not come from money. She came from poverty and a very absent, neglectful mother. And they maintain a friendship via letters over like a decade or so, just like a couple of times per year, kind of checking in with one another. But they don't see each other until about 10 years later, when Madison asks for Lillian's help with something, which is taking care of her two stepchildren that have come to live with her and her senator husband. And Lillian's life is pretty much, at this point, one big, long dead end after another. So she decides to take this summer job. It's understood to be just like for the summer, kind of nannying, despite the fact that these twin stepchildren have a shocking condition. When they get upset or agitated, they spontaneously combust into flames. And things ensue from there. Themes of parental love, anxiety, trauma and coping with trauma, found family, and also a fair amount of conversation about classism as well. And yeah, I loved this. I loved this book. My God. Absolutely hilarious authorial voice. Talk about like dark comedy. That's this book. It was so witty, so clever. There were parts that had me like cackling, like just with the absurdity of what was happening on pages. Like, what the, just chaotic and hilarious. But then, oh my God, so touching, so heartwarming, such a message of hopefulness and love, and like, it was just so sweet. It was so sweet by the end. My God, like a new favorite for sure. And the authorial voice struck me, it struck a chord with me pretty much immediately. I was like, ooh, yes. Here we go. Like, oh, I was just like, oh yes, please continue. Please continue. And it did. I tabbed so many hilarious lines. I couldn't even tab everything because I would have been tabbing constantly. He just takes this like really absurd setup with like literal combustible children and makes it like so incredibly funny while also being so heartwarming and beautiful. And I loved these characters. I mean, Jasper, the senator husband, he sucks. And Lillian's mom, fucking terrible. And the main character, like Lillian and Madison, they're not overly likable necessarily. They're not perfect characters. They are very flawed in many ways. They're not super palatable in general, I would say. They're a little obnoxious. They have blatant biases, and sometimes they're just kind of jerks, honestly. But I genuinely found Lillian and Madison, and even Carl, we have a side character, Carl, to be pretty damn likable. And the kids were adorable. And I mean, sometimes they were punks, but they're actual children, so, you know, makes sense. I just found them to be really endearing. Like, these characters were so endearing to me. And yeah, I read it pretty much in a fucking day. And it's shorter, it's on the shorter side for a novel, but I've read plenty of books around the same length and taken way longer to read them, so for me it was a fucking page turner. I couldn't put it down. Some memorable quotes that I saved. But Carl didn't want to hear any of that, so we just rode in silence the rest of the way, the radio playing easy listening that made me want to slip into a hot bath and dream about killing everyone I know. And then there's this whole thing, like this monologue, where she's talking about her childhood and like being amazing at stuff. And she says, I wasn't destined for greatness. I knew this, but I was figuring out how to steal it from someone stupid enough to relax their grip on it. And oh my God, the entire scene where Lillian and Carl are picking the kids up from their grandparents' house where they've been staying. Just, hilarious. I was cackling out loud, like hooting and hollering. It was so fucking ridiculous and funny. Oh my God. I will say also, content warnings in this for suicide, fire, obviously, and fire injury, death of a parent, and abandonment, of course, as well. And yeah, the kids telling their story about how their mom died, my God, because that's why they have to come live with their dad. Their mom that was raising them has died, and it's a little traumatic, for sure. And then, so Lillian has her own child with her senator husband as well. She doesn't just have these stepkids. Her son is named Timothy, and he's 3 years old. And so this is about him. Timothy was already there, his hands clasped together on the table, like he was ready to pray, or like he was your boss, and he was really sorry, but he was gonna have to fire you. Oh, friggin' loved it. New fave, 5 stars, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Okay, see, now I have a couple that are part of a longer term, like a longer reading vlog that I'm doing. So I don't know if I want to talk about them. I'm doing a, reading books that, booktubers recommend. Not necessarily directly to me, but just, I tag on Storygraph whenever I'm adding a book to my to be read that is from, seeing a booktuber talk about it positively and, rave about it. I will tag it with, booktube rec and then the channel, whoever the person is. So I'm finally kind of going through some of those. So that's what the reading vlog is reading through a few of these books that different booktubers rave about or have raved about at some point. Some of them are from many years ago. I'm going to skip those for now. So the next one to talk about, I read in the kind of beginning / middle of August, and that was a NetGalley e-arc I got of The Keeper of Magical Things by Julie Leong. And this is in the same world. It's like a companion novel to The Teller of Small Fortunes, which I have over there, and I really liked. These are cozy fantasies, and they're in the same world, but they're companions. It's not like a series. You can read one without reading the other one. And I loved The Teller of Small Fortunes. I thought it was just so sweet and so heartwarming. I love The Keeper of Magical Things even more. Oh my God, definitely a favorite. The synopsis of this one: Certainty Bulrush, that is her name, Certainty, is the longest running novice at the Guild of Mages. Her magic is being able to communicate with objects and determine their purpose and history and ask them to do things, essentially. And it doesn't seem to be particularly useful. And she isn't good at spell casting. In this world, other mages, they have a specialty, but then most of them can spell cast to some degree of skill. She really can't. And she finally gets a chance to earn her magehood with an assignment to take some less important magical artifacts out to this rural village, which for reasons does not have any magic in it, to catalog and store these objects there. But there's a small catch. she has to go with Mage Aurelia, who is known to Certainty and her friends as the Ice Witch due to her very standoffish and uptight demeanor. The guild does not have a really good reputation with the local villagers and with like the general populace overall in the country. So the two of them are definitely met with suspicion by these villagers and a little bit of hostility. And so they have to make do with living quarters in the town stables. But they just have to keep their heads down, catalog and store these items, and then be on their merry way. But as they get to know the villagers, they realize there may be some good that they can do for them and for the broken reputation of the guild as well. They develop friendships with the locals and perhaps are starting to even warm up to each other. Especially Certainty to Aurelia, as she realizes she just might have a crush on her and doesn't know if Aurelia feels the same because she's very hard to read. Themes here of belonging, community for sure, compassion, empathy, love, family support, and like the importance of family support and like the confidence that can give a person. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was freaking adorable, so sweet. Just like a fucking hug of a book. Certainty is like a hug of a person. Like she's the sweetest ever. And I don't know. I'm not a big cozy fantasy reader. I've read some and liked it. I've read others and like really not liked it. Or some that I feel like, yeah, it's cute or whatever, but I just don't get like that connected to it. But man, for whatever reason, the way Julie Leong writes cozy fantasy, I'm in it. And I love these characters. She does the like lighthearted, warm, fuzzy tone, but like mixed in with some like serious topics that are handled with care, I feel. Like I think she does a good balance of we're still talking about something important and maybe there's some more serious things that people deal with, xenophobia, racism, sexism, etc. But I think she blends these tones well and handles them well, in my opinion. And I thought it was really fascinating in this, seeing how their different childhoods shaped them. And, you know, childhood trauma is a thing, or childhood, like, love and care, and just how it obviously affects people long-term in their lives. And it was really, really sweet. And I got a little teary-eyed several times towards the end especially. And I just really liked seeing their relationship blossom as they just got to know each other more and they were able to be more vulnerable with each other. So yeah, again, this is a fave of the year. Would recommend, once again. All right, and I think the last one I'll talk about for now is sequel, The Sapphire Altar by David Dalglish. I read The Bladed Faith earlier this year on Roger's recommendation, part of that little reading project Elle and I did, and I gave The Bladed Faith like 3.5, I think, at the time when I was doing like star ratings still. I liked it. It was a little better than like middle of the road, but I didn't love it. But I liked where we were going, and Roger was like, I think the issues you have with the first one, like you won't have them with the second one. Because my biggest issue was the main character, Cyrus. Just, you know, the training montages, and then him being so like, oh no, I'm trained for years to assassinate people that are bad, but now once I'm assassinating people that are bad, every single time I'm like in despair about it, and like, oh my god, but I've killed. I'm like, they're literally hanging your countrymen like in the town square. They slaughtered your family. They're awful people. Yeah, like, I mean, I get that you're taking a life, but like we don't need to beat ourselves up about it this much every single time. I get it like the first time or two, I guess, you know. I haven't taken a life. I can imagine no matter what, it's just like, holy shit, I took a life. I need to process this. But like it was like, okay, I get it. So, whatever. All that to say, I wanted to read the sequel at least to check it out, and I quite enjoyed this. I definitely liked it more than the first book. I've already purchased the third one to try to read it sooner rather than later, to not forget everything. And oh, synopsis. I forget to do synopses all the fucking time. The first book summary, I'll give you that because I don't want to spoil anything for this one, but the summary for The Blade of Faith. Cyrus was 14 when his gods were slain, his country invaded, and his parents, the king and queen, beheaded in front of him. After years held prisoner in the invaders' court, a mysterious group of revolutionaries breaks him free and gives him the chance for revenge that he's always dreamed of. In exchange, he will become the figurehead of their new rebellion. He will become a hero to unite the people and strike fear in the hearts of the Imperials. He will take up the skull mask and swords to become the legendary Vagrant, an unparalleled assassin of otherworldly skill. But all is not as it seems. Creating the illusion of a hero is the work of many, and Cyrus will soon discover the true price of his vengeance. That's the setup. And definitely themes here, heavy themes. It's not really mentioned in the synopsis there of that first book, but there is a lot of talk of faith and religion, and even more so in this. Because in this world, these gods that these different countries have are created via the faith of the people. So the more people that pray to these gods, the stronger these gods become. And in some countries, their gods were just mortal humans who became gods via the faith of the people. And there's this empire who wants to eradicate all these gods because of reasons, and have the one god who is the leader of the empire. So there's so much conversation about that, and even more so in this book. And I can't really delve into why too much, but yeah, it's very fascinating. As someone who grew up in a religious upbringing, it can sometimes feel kind of I don't know, because that's so much of Christianity is you just have to have faith, right? You don't have evidence, but you just need to believe. And I'm no longer religious, and I just don't vibe with the messaging, I guess. And there's a lot of messaging of that in here, but it's also criticizing it a bit. It's just an interesting conversation that's happening, I guess. Definitely themes also of revenge, clearly. Fighting against oppressors, kind of good versus evil, but what does that really mean? And the need to have morally gray politics in this world and in a lot of worlds. This did take me quite some time to get through, I will say. I don't think it's the book's fault necessarily. I think it's just what I was doing at the time. And what I was in the mood to read at the time. I kind of wasn't really in a super fantasy mood. So it was taking me a little bit of time, but I was enjoying it. I wasn't having a bad time with it. And yeah, I liked Cyrus way more in this book. My God, he was far less obnoxious. He wasn't really obnoxious to me. There's another character, and I don't know how to pronounce the name, if it's Kelis or Kelis, Keles. She was fucking annoying in this. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Not I guess to a crazy degree, but I just found she had a lot of back and forth wavering with something, and I found it a little bit tiresome, tedious. And in general with this series so far, it's fascinating thematically, and the world building is really cool, and we learn things and reveals that I'm wait a fucking minute, hold on. But I'm not particularly attached to these characters, I guess. So when bad things happen to some of them, I'm kind of oh yeah, that's sad, I guess. I don't care all that much, I suppose. But it's just a fun plot and a fascinating plot. And yeah, the reveals towards the end of this, the final reveal in particular, just, I can't really say because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a trope that I love that comes up, and I'm wait a fucking minute. And I'm very excited to get to the third book because of where I think it's going. And I'm just curious to see if I'm right or not. I don't know. So yeah, I really, really liked it. Not quite love, just because I don't love the characters like that. It did take me a little, the pacing kind of, it was the 20% to 40% mark was just a little, the pacing was, it felt a little overly long, I guess. I think we could have cut down some stuff there. But overall, a good time. Oh, one last one that I will mention very, very quickly is that I decided that I wanted to try the Bone Season, that whole series by Samantha Shannon. So I got it from the library, got the ebook. And like there is a different version, and I did check it because originally I had gotten the physical copy, and then I saw Penny talking about it. Penny, what is your channel? The Paperback Cat? Or Penny the Paperback Cat? I'll put her on screen. She's read this series and really liked it. A lot of people have. But she was mentioning how there's like a new version of it, basically. Like she kind of rewrote the books, at least like the first one or two, I don't know. And not that I didn't believe her, but I just wanted to like see for myself. And yeah, quite different, honestly. The like first few pages I checked once I got the ebook. So I started the ebook, but I DNF'd at 20%. I felt like, I don't know, the world, I wasn't that into it. And I was honestly, it was a lot of like info dumping, it felt like. And I just was getting a little lost in the sauce. I felt like the world building was like a little clunky, I suppose. And I just was not getting gripped by the story. I did not care what was happening to the main character and like the world. It just isn't like, it's fantasy, but it's like kind of dystopian, futuristic, but then they're also at the same time kind of living like the dark ages in part. I don't know. Part of it seemed fascinating with like the supernatural, fantastical element that we were learning about. It was a little interesting, but I just overall, it just felt a little clunky and it wasn't flowing how I wanted it to, and I just didn't really care that much. So DNF'd. Bummer times though, because some people really, really love that series and like rave about it. And man, those covers are so cool looking. They're so pretty, the new covers, I love them. So yeah, I wanted it to be for me, but 'twas not. And that is gonna be all for today. Have you read any of these? Do you have any of these on your TBR? Are you intrigued by any of them now that I've talked about them? Or less intrigued maybe? The ones I didn't like. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.